Hello there everyone, welcome to the channel if you're new, and welcome back if you aren't. I'm EDJ, and I'm continuing the Alexander the Great series from Epic History TV. In part 1, we talked a lot about, obviously, Alexander. I kind of gave the spiel about everything I knew. Great, just overall very interesting historical figure. And the video basically covered, you know, the the history of Greek, of Greece, of Greek culture, the rise of Philip II, and then Alexander taking on Philip's mission to, conquer Persia. And so yeah, we basically opened with the first battle of last video of his Persian campaign, and man, Alexander the Great also, like I said a lot about him last video. I think the guy is obviously a genius, but also has like a touch of luck. Cause like last video, in that battle, he almost like died, or he got hit and almost got killed. Like he was living a very, you know a very dangerous life, but the fact that he made it through so much, it's like it almost makes his death by disease almost like, I don't know, sadder because or poison. I don't know. It kind of depends on what the source is, but either way, it's a shame he died so young, I guess. So yeah, I guess we're just gonna continue on with his Persian campaign, and this series only has like 4 or 5 parts. I guess if you include the speech, yeah. So yeah, I don't know if he's gonna cover all the way to Alexander's death, or he's going to just cover the Persian campaign. I don't know how much he can do with about 10 to 13 minute videos. Then again, like I said, I've never watched Epic History TV until now, so I'm completely new to his work and his video style. So I'll learn. So yeah, if you want to watch his original video without me talking, the link is in the description down below. Feel free to subscribe and follow Epic History TV. I want to give credit to the original sources and nothing but praise to them. So thank you so much. Let's get right into it. Without any further ado, let's watch Alexander the Great Part 2 by Epic History TV.
In 334 BC, Alexander, the 21-year-old king of Macedonia, led a coalition of Greek forces against the greatest power of the age, the Persian Empire. He led an army of skilled veterans, at its heart men of the Macedonian phalanx, armed with the 18-foot Sarissa pike, and the elite horsemen of his companion cavalry. Together, at the Battle of the River Granicus, they'd won a first decisive victory over the Persian army.
Okay, the River Granicus. Yeah, that was what I was talking about, the first battle where he almost got killed. Imagine Alexander actually just did get killed in that battle. That would have been the most anticlimactic thing. Oh man.
Now, as Alexander approached Sardis, capital of the Persian province of Lydia, its commander surrendered without a fight.
Oh dang, really?
But before Alexander could advance further, he needed to neutralize Persian naval power. Persia had a powerful fleet with major naval bases around the eastern Mediterranean that could potentially cut his lines of communication back to Greece. Rather than challenge the Persians at sea, Alexander decided to attack its nearest bases, the Greek coastal cities of Miletus and Halicarnassus. Both put up determined resistance, but were taken by winter. The following spring of 333 BC, Alexander continued his advance into Lycia and Phrygia. At Gordium, he was shown the legendary Gordian Knot, A prophecy said that whoever could unpick it would rule all Asia.
Oh wait, I know
Alex-
this story. Yeah, the Gordian knot. He just cuts it. Who can ever do it? I think he just straight up cuts it. It's like, well, this is why Alexander the Great conquered so much, because he just thought outside the box, right? I think that's how the story goes. I guess I'll see if I'm right in a second.
Alexander simply took his sword and sliced it in half.
What a genius. Okay, I'm glad I got that story right. Like, I've heard that story. Yeah, like I said, I'm a little bit surprised at how much I know about Alexander the Great. I was worried a little bit that I would go into this series seemingly knowing nothing, but like I said, all my past amateur research about the dude has resurfaced, and I'm very happy about that. So yeah, Alexander ain't no stranger to prophecy. In fact, like, funnily enough, for those of you who don't know, I go to Bible college. I have a degree in theology. There's actually is a biblical prophecy regarding Alexander the Great and his success in defeating Persia. So, yeah, very important dude for the time.
Meanwhile, Memnon of Rhodes, a skilled Greek general in Persian service, led Persian warships into the Aegean and captured the islands of Chios and Lesbos. But after Memnon's sudden death from illness, the offensive was abandoned.
The Battle of Issus.
18
Gosh darn it. Sorry for all the pauses, I keep getting like Gmail notifications. I modified this mic so I wouldn't pick up much background noise, but if you hear it, I apologize.
months had passed since Alexander's army crossed the Hellespont and invaded the Persian Empire. Now Alexander led his men into Cilicia and was soon poised to cross the Nur Mountains into Syria.
Dude, he is steamrolling through this. Which I imagine is actually how Alexander the Great moved. He was just steamrolling through Persia, but dang, he making great time.
But then, the main Persian army, led by King Darius III himself, emerged behind the Greek army to the north. Darius was determined to trap and destroy Alexander's army, which he outnumbered almost 2 to 1. So he blocked Alexander's only escape route by moving his army to the coastal plain near Issus, just 6 miles wide, from mountains to sea.
Imagine how great it would be if you had 10 to 20 clients paying you $500 a month for work that only took you.
The narrow battlefield would force Alexander to fight, but it also prevented Darius exploiting his huge numerical advantage. His army, by some estimates, was up to 100,000 strong, and contained some of the finest soldiers in his vast empire, including 10,000 of his own household troops, known as the Immortals. His best cavalry were massed on his right towards the sea, where the ground was better for horses. His best
Yeah, the Persian Empire is a little underrated. Like, not many people talk about it. It's usually like Rome and whatnot. But yeah, the Persians were, for like, obviously at their time, were like the largest empire, and like military, like in terms of military, were beyond fearsome. So I don't know. I was doing some like, quick Googling based on the Persian Empire, and I really like it. Like, I don't know. I wish more people would talk about it. Like, I find it beyond interesting. It's a very underrated empire, in my opinion.
infantry, his Greek mercenary hoplites, formed the center. Persian infantry formed his left wing. Alexander deployed his own army for battle, once again entrusting his left wing, nearest the sea, to Parmenion, with the Greek cavalry and infantry. In the center, as always, was the Macedonian phalanx. Alexander positioned himself and his best troops on the right wing toward the mountain slopes. His elite Agriane javelin throwers, his archers, and behind them the Hypaspists and the companion cavalry. When Alexander saw the strength of the Persian cavalry facing Parmenion on the left, he moved across his Thessalian cavalry to reinforce him. Despite his overwhelming numbers, Darius held his position behind a small river, the Pinarus, and waited for Alexander to attack. He didn't have to wait long. Alexander called out to his men, urging them to fight bravely, picking out some by name. Then, at the head of his army's right wing, he charged. Once again, the speed and shock of the Macedonian advance sent the enemy reeling back. But in the center of the battlefield, the Macedonian phalanx was in trouble. In its effort to keep up with Alexander, its formation had become disordered. Now, in fierce fighting with Darius's Greek mercenaries, the phalanx was slowly being driven back. Alexander, seeing the danger, regrouped and led the companions in a headlong charge straight at the Persian center. The Greek mercenaries, threatened on their flank, were soon in disarray, and the Macedonian phalanx was able to resume its advance. Alexander fought his way towards the great king Darius himself. Rather than face this apparently mad and fearless Macedonian king, Darius fled the battlefield in his royal chariot.
Yo, to be fair, I would too. Like, Alexander's just there charging, killing people. It's like, yeah, I'm not gonna fight
him. Meanwhile, the Macedonian left wing under Parmenion was in a desperate fight against the best of the Persian cavalry. If the Persians could break through here, they could envelop Alexander's army and snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. But Parmenion and his troops fought doggedly and continued to hold the Persians at bay. As the news that Darius had fled spread among his troops, they abandoned the fight and tried to save themselves. The battle turned into a massacre. Ptolemy, one of the Macedonian commanders, told Alexander there were so many Persian dead, his men had used them to fill a deep ravine so they could cross over it.
Wow. Son of Amun.
The Battle of Issus was a stunning victory for Alexander. And amongst the spoils of victory were Darius's wife, mother, and 3 children, all taken alive and well treated by Alexander.
Dang.
With the Persian field army in retreat, Alexander now turned to subduing the western territories of the Persian Empire. The next year, 332, the coastal cities of Phoenicia submitted to Alexander, ending Persian naval power in the Mediterranean. But the island city of Tyre resisted.
Oh yes, the Siege of Tyre. That's one of the most famous ones. Like, I was actually, like, you know, like, during the time of making of this video and the first one, like, yeah, a lot of people were talking about Tyre and the siege. I was looking into it, and yeah, it's just like it's insane. Just you could say that a lot about the battles Alexander was in. Just insane, like you know.
As defenders fought bravely and skillfully, even when Alexander began building a causeway to the island, protected by 2 giant siege towers, which they counterattacked with fire ships. But after 7 months, the city walls were breached and Tyre fell. Most of its citizens were killed or enslaved. Gaza, too, was taken by siege. Alexander continued to Pelusium on the Nile Delta, where the Persian governor of Egypt surrendered the entire province to Alexander, along with the royal treasury.
Dang.
At Memphis, priests of this ancient land welcomed Alexander as their liberator from Persian rule, and crowned him pharaoh. At the mouth of the Nile, he founded a new city, Alexandria.
Didn't I know? Like a joke is Alexander named a lot of cities and stuff after himself, which is I don't know, hilarious. Like Alexander had an ego on him for sure, but well deserved. I'm not criticizing that, but you know, still had an ego.
Then travelled to the desert oracle of Siwa, where according to some accounts the priests welcomed him as son of Amun, king of the gods. Alexander returned east to Tyre, where in 331 BC he received news of trouble back home. Despite his great victories over the Persians, many Greeks regarded Alexander as a tyrant.
Is it about to be Sparta's time to try to get back to relevance? But yeah, I know that like last video we were talking about how like essentially Philip II, even after being dissed by Sparta, basically ignored them to focus on the bigger fish, and even Alexander continued ignoring them until I know this is what happened. Eventually, Alexander does decide to like fight Sparta, but he doesn't do it himself. He sends one of his generals to go handle Sparta, and they get defeated. So that's hilarious. He's like, I'm not even gonna waste my own personal time. I'm gonna send like the B team. No disrespect to Alexander's generals; they were beyond competent, but you know, essentially, yeah, just to go kick Sparta's butt, because I don't have to waste my time doing it myself. That's if he's going to talk about this. I just know that eventually he does kick Sparta's butt.
Agis of Sparta, with Persian support, now launched a revolt against Macedonia. Antipater, Alexander's commander in Greece, was already dealing with rebellion in Thrace. But he quickly marched south and met Agis in battle near the city of Megalopolis.
Megalopolis.
Even the legendary Spartans were now no match for Macedonian military power. The Spartan army was crushed. King Agis himself was among the fallen.
Yep.
With his base in Greece secure once more, Alexander advanced towards the Persian heartlands, seeking a final showdown with Darius. He received a letter from the Persian king offering him a fortune in gold, his daughter in marriage, and half his empire in exchange for peace. But Alexander's stunning victories, all the oracles and acclamations, had now convinced him that his destiny was to rule the world. He rejected the Persian king's offer.
Yeah, it's that, like I said, like, you know, there is a story in Jewish history that Alexander visited, you know, Jerusalem, and that they, like I said, the Bible has a prophecy of Alexander or Greeks basically beating Persia. So I imagine that along already him thinking he's divine, descended from like Achilles and Heracles, and all of these factors probably made his mind, his ego, astronomical. He's like, I can do this, and for the most part, he did. you know, so yeah, like I imagine at that point he probably just thought it's like a foregone conclusion. You know, I can do this. So yeah, I don't blame him. Like I definitely could see like how that could go on in his head.
He didn't want half the empire.
He wanted all of it.
He was coming to take it all. Research and artwork for this video comes from Osprey Publishing's extensive range of books on ancient history. Every Osprey book examines a particular battle, campaign, or combat unit in authoritative, meticulous detail. And with more than 3,000 titles, they cover everything from ancient warfare to modern conflict. Visit their website to see their online catalogue. If you'd like to help us make more history videos...
Alright, so I want to jump right into part 3 already, guys. I won't say much. It's another great video. I'll see you all in part 3. Bye, everyone.